is going on, everybody? Welcome back to TTP Sports. And honestly, what more is there to say that I haven't already said during this entire series? The Phillies lose the series. They basically get shut down by Spencer Strider in this game. They lose it by a score of 4-1. You lose the series 3-1, and in a series, honestly, you could have won 3 or 4 if you didn't, waste those golden, spectacular moments from Bryce Harper and Trey Turner. Bryce Harper in game 1 of the doubleheader, and Trey Turner last night. If you don't waste those golden opportunities, you probably have a fantastic shot of winning 3 or 4 in this series. And sadly, that was not the case in this series at all. You came up short. You came up very short. You didn't get the job done. And for the first time in the series, your offense got, completely shut down. It looked like they were doing something to Spencer Strider in the first inning. They made him pitch a lot. They worked the count. They got some guys on. They scored a run. They got him near 40 pitches in the first inning. So you're thinking about, okay, maybe if they keep doing this the entire night, Spencer Strider might get, bumped from the game early. And maybe you got something, you get into that Braves bullpen who's been coughing up a lot of runs this series. Maybe you could make something work. Nope. Sadly, that's not the case for the rest of the game. Sadly, your offense got shut down the rest of the game. For Christopher Sanchez, I know his stat line says he allowed 4 earned runs, but I thought overall Christopher Sanchez was really, really good. I thought he was good, and he handled the Braves lineup the best that he possibly could. He does allow that, 2-run shot to Austin Riley in the first inning and allows a couple of runs the rest of the game. But he still goes more than 7 innings, goes into the 8th inning, which I'm very surprised about because why was he allowed to go into the 8th inning of this game, but he wasn't allowed to go, farther than 5 innings against the Marlins? That's something that's really confusing to me. But I guess it is what it is at this point. But Christopher Sanchez was really good, and he definitely showcased himself to be supplemented into the rotation for the rest of the season, because we all know that they're most likely going back to the 5-man rotation. Someone from this rotation is going into the bullpen, most likely Michael Lorenzen. So I think Christopher Sanchez, with this start, he supplemented his role as the 5th starter once again. Just sadly, the tides didn't turn and the offense didn't score for him, and sadly that wasn't the case. And that is a series loss, and the Atlanta Braves, they celebrate their NL East division title on your field, which I hate. I hate it. 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 I'm jealous of the Braves, but I hate it. I hate them. I hate their faces. I'm jealous of their faces. Jesus. Jesus, Jesus, Jesus. My goodness. It's what makes that, series loss to Miami hurt a lot. Because, for as much as you competed with this team during this series, you didn't get the job done, on those days. You won game 2 of the doubleheader, but you should have won the first game, and you should have won last night. If not for, JT Realmuto. You should have won last night. And for the first game, Jose Alvarado choked it in the top of the 10th. Sadly, that was the case there. It's just frustrating. It really is. Who would think, Christopher Sanchez, he was the starting pitcher for the Phillies to really, I would say keep the Braves offense in check majority of the game. Hold them to less than 5 runs. You can't say that about any of the other Phillies starting pitcher in this series. Maybe Michael Lorenzen, did he allow 5 runs or did he allow 4 earned runs? I think it was 4 or 5. It was one of the two. But Christopher Sanchez, was the best starter on the mound for the Phillies in this series. And he has been one of the more consistent guys in the rotation since he got his call back up. So he's been doing the work for you, but sadly he hasn't been getting rewarded for it. I guess you can say there's a bright side to this, is that you really didn't lose any ground in the wild card standings basically at all. You're basically right back where you started coming into this series, because the Chicago Cubs lost their series to the Rockies. The Arizona Diamondbacks, I believe they lost their series to the Mets as well. I'm not even sure. Did they get swept by the Mets? If I'm not mistaken, did the Arizona Diamondbacks get swept by the Mets? That I do not know. No, they're losing that series to the Mets because they're losing 7-1 currently in the top of the 8th inning. So the Cubs didn't get the job done, nor the Diamondbacks got the job done when the Phillies were losing. So I guess that's the benefit there. So like I said, you're basically in the same exact spot when you came into this series against Atlanta. And now the Arizona Diamondbacks and the Chicago Cubs, they play each other this weekend. So I guess let those two teams beat each other up. And you get an off day tomorrow, and you have to win this series against St. Louis. Honestly, you got to sweep them. You got to sweep them. It's expected at this point. Well, it's mandatory, I should say. I think that's the proper word to say. It's mandatory because you went through a little slump in this homestand, and that definitely was not expected. It was not at all. It's time to right the ship. It is time to right the ship. Get a day off tomorrow. You rest that entire bullpen, and Christopher Sanchez did a fantastic job to get the bullpen more rest as well. So that helps. But get the bullpen more rest tomorrow. You go into this series with St. Louis. Offense bounce back against a bad team. I don't care that St. Louis's offense has been a little bit hot the past couple of series. They're not a good team. They are not a good team. You saw that in Citizens Bank Park when they came here. St. Louis is not a good team. You can easily manhandle them. And then after that St. Louis series, you're going to be playing these Braves once again on the road in Atlanta. So you get an easy series, well, should be easy series for this Phillies team. And then you go right back to the Atlanta Braves in Atlanta in their ballpark after they celebrated on your field, clinching a division title. So I'm going to need the big boy pants to step up these next 6 games. Because after these next 6 games, it's the backstretch of this. Well, basically, we are in the backstretch of the season, but it even gets further into the backstretch because after these, like I said, after these next 6 games, it's the final. What is it? The final 10 games of the season. 7 against the Mets, and 3 against the Pittsburgh Pirates. That's where it is. Those are the final games. You got to win your games. The Phillies aren't going to fall out of the playoffs. You're not selling me that nonsense. You're not selling me that crap. But right now, yeah, your first wildcard spot is in jeopardy unless, you start winning again. But granted, the Chicago Cubs, they play the Diamondbacks again. They do play the Rockies again, even though they did lose that series. So who knows what could happen in that situation. And the Cubs, they also play the Braves and the Brewers to close out the year. And say if the Diamondbacks were to beat the Cubs this weekend in this series, I think the Diamondbacks get the tiebreaker over the Cubs. So they could possibly sneak into that second wildcard spot. So, and you do have the tiebreaker over the Cubs and the Diamondbacks, so that does help in that case. But you need to find a way to seal off this first wildcard spot. No more, stretches of losing. No more this, no more that. You got to bounce back. You got to play better. Pitching's got to be 20 times better. Offense, okay, they had a stinker tonight, but they're still mashing the ball. But yes, runners in scoring position is the issue lately again. So find a way to snap that streak in St. Louis because you definitely can against their pitching. You should be able to against their pitching. So that's what I want to see. Sadly, we're on Apple TV on Friday, I believe, because I believe Tom McCarthy said Friday is national television, so that probably means Apple TV. Joy. I get to watch that nonsense on Apple TV. Nice. But yeah, that's all I got to say for this game. There's basically not much to say about this game compared to the rest of the games in this series. You dropped the ball. You didn't, get the job done in the games that you should have won. And yes, this Braves team is a full-on juggernaut. They are. But I did see in this series, in the other games, that the Phillies definitely are not afraid to play this Braves squad. They were basically in every game. Sadly, tonight the offense got shut down. But sadly, even though you were involved in those games, you still got to get the job done. And sadly, that wasn't the case. you can showcase that you're not afraid of this team, but you still got to find a way to win the games. You showcase that you're not afraid of them, but you didn't finish the job. The Braves still kept coming at you. So the Braves know what the Phillies are capable of. The Phillies just need to figure out how to get the job done. So who knows? Jose, I'm not even worried about the offseason right now, man. I'm not even worried about the offseason. There's nothing the Phillies can do in the offseason that they can put on top of the Braves. The Phillies have a lot of talent. The Braves have 20 times that talent. That's just the way they're built. It just is. Nothing the Phillies can do this offseason can go on top of that. If you say go after Mike Trout, for as great as a player he is, he's on the wrong side of 30 and hasn't been able to stay on the field for a full 162 the past so many years. I feel like if that's the case, that trade is a mistake. Unless, the Angels are just trying to dump his salary off, then I will take it. But I'm not giving up significant pieces for a banged-up Mike Trout on the wrong side of 30. I don't care how good he is. If he's not going to be on the field for you, that's your answer. That's your answer, in my honest opinion. Just is. But like I said, I'm not even worried about the offseason right now. I'm worried about this team in front of us in the backstretch of the season, trying to, stay on top in this first wildcard spot to get that home field advantage for the wildcard series. I don't know who you're going to be playing because it's going to be either the Diamondbacks or the Cubs. It's going to be one of those two teams. I don't see this Phillies team falling into the third wildcard spot. I don't think that's possible because of the other teams that are around them that are also losing, Thankfully, you are getting the benefit of when you lose, the other teams around you lose too. So you're getting lucky in that aspect. But I would like to see you take advantage of these other teams losing. And sadly, lately, you have not been doing that. But I need to see more. I need to see a bounce back in St. Louis this weekend. I need to see a sweep. I need the offense to bounce back with runners in scoring position. I need to see the starting pitching have a good series to build some confidence under their arsenal. Who is going to be pitching in this series for the Phillies anyway? Because I'm sure Aaron Nola is going to be one of the pitchers this series. I believe he's going to be on Friday, if I'm not mistaken. So that's going to be fun. And let's see. Yep, it's going to be Aaron Nola going up against Zack Thompson, who is a bullpen guy turned starter. So there's that for you. And then it's going to be Ranger Suarez up against Miles Michaelis, and then Taijuan Walker against Dakota Hudson. So there you go. And then for the Atlanta series, it's going to be Zach Wheeler, Rangers, Christopher Sanchez, and Aaron Nola. Basically facing the same exact pitchers that you faced in this series against Atlanta. Kyle Wright, Max Fried, and Spencer Strider. Could be seeing those same exact faces next week in Atlanta. So you got to be prepared. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. So Friday is going to be an 8 o'clock game on Apple TV. Saturday, 7:15, and then Sunday, 2:15 in the afternoon. Thankfully, the Eagles do not play on that Sunday. They play tomorrow night. And we'll have Eagles focus tomorrow. Eagles versus the Vikings. Definitely a little more nervous than I would be for the Eagles tomorrow just because of all the injuries. But if the offense plays a lot better than they did in week 1 against New England, they'll have a good chance. I don't believe in the Vikings. I don't think they're that good of a team. You got to go and win. That's the bottom line. It is the bottom line. So I'm sorry for that little bit of quiet there. I was just checking on something here in terms of just, because before I started this stream, my computer froze, and I was just making sure I didn't lose any progress with what I was doing in terms of, sending stuff, editing crap and all that. Thankfully, I didn't. So my computer has been a little bit funky the past couple of days, so who knows? That's just me, though. That's just me. Don't worry about my stupid little freaking equipment here. So if I'm looking around the league right now, we know the Cubs lost. Diamondbacks are losing 7-1 in the bottom of the 8th. Miami, they're beating the Brewers 2-0, but they lost that series. The Giants, they beat the Guardians, but their schedule gets difficult as the end of the season comes. If I'm looking at the Cardinals right now, let me look at the Cardinals just to see how they've been the past, so many series since they got swept in Philly. So if I'm looking at St. Louis, since they got swept in Philadelphia, they won a series against San Diego, they lost a series against Pittsburgh, they won a series against Atlanta. So they've won 3 straight series coming into this. They won a series against Atlanta, won a series against Cincinnati, and won a series against Baltimore. The Atlanta series, their offense went off. They won 10-6, 11-6, and they lost 8-5. In Cincinnati, they won 9-4, they won 4-3, and they lost 7-1. In Baltimore, they lost 11-5, they won 5-2, and they won 1-0. So, who knows? But we showcased that we can mop this team. So continue to prove that. Continue to prove that. Because this team is not good. They are not good. Not good. Not good. They're not good. They're not good. They are not a good team. They are not a good team. It's bottom line there. Trying to see if there's anything else here on Twitter from anything after the game. Who knows? Hey, did you guys, like, off topic from Phillies news, did you guys see the Max Scherzer injury news? What was the injury specifically? Because I don't remember the injury specifically, but I do remember it saying that he probably won't be available for the, here we go. Max Scherzer is out for the remainder of the regular season with a low-grade teres major strain. He is unlikely to pitch in the postseason. Oh, boy. Oh, boy. And then you also saw the injury update for Sandy Alcantara for the Marlins, diagnosed with a UCL sprain. They don't know if he's going to pitch again this year. So, some crazy shit happening here at the end of the season. Definitely around baseball. Braves are the first team to clinch a division just because they're the Atlanta Braves and they're going fucking insane. They're going beast mode on the entire league. We'll see what happens with the playoffs though with them. We'll see. So if we're looking at the lineup for the Phillies for tonight, basically nothing happened throughout the entire lineup. The Phillies had 4 hits. Kyle Schwarber, he had a walk, but he went over 3 with 2 strikeouts. Trey Turner, sadly, was shut down today, over 4 with a strikeout, so sadly he didn't get on base. Bryce Harper, over 3 with a walk. Alec Bohm, 1 for 4. Bryson Stott, 1 for 4 with an RBI. Brandon Marsh, 1 for 4. Castellanos, 1 for 3. Stubbs, 0 for 3. And Rojas, 0 for 3. Phillies go 1 for 3 with runners in scoring position. They left 5 runners on base. They barely had runners the rest of the ballgame against Strider. They barely did. Acuna went 3 for 5. Albies went 2 for 4. Riley went 2 for 3 with 3 RBIs and a 2-run shot. You actually kept Matt Olson quiet in this series for once. 0 for 4. Ozuna 1 for 4. Arcia 0 for 4. Murphy 0 for 4. Pilar had 2 hits in this game, 2 for 4. And Harris went 0 for 4 with 4 strikeouts. And it's basically the top of the lineup. Riley was due to have a fantastic game. Even though he did have, the whole, Jake Cave debacle, freaking inside the park home run, whatever you want to call it. But overall, he was pretty quiet in this series. He was due to go off. We weren't escaping this series without a freaking Austin Riley moonshot. Just weren't escaping it. That's just the way it goes. And I'm sure we won't be escaping it next week in Atlanta. I'm just sure we won't. Especially against Nola. Especially against Nola. Wouldn't be shocked. Ay. This team. Ay. It's just deflating when you don't come up, getting the job done in some of the games in this series. I'm just frustrated, that's all. That's all I am. And I think we all have a right to be frustrated. When you don't win the series against Miami before this series, you have to try to split it at least, and you didn't. And you could have won the series, but you didn't because you couldn't hit after 2 of your superstars have miraculous moments for you. Phillies guaranteed getting swept by the Braves in the playoffs. Good for you, Charles. Good for you, Charles. Good for you for thinking that. Some holes in the Phillies lineup? I wouldn't say there's holes. JT Realmuto, yeah, that's a hole. That's a hole I'll give to you. That's a hole I'll give to you. JT Realmuto with runners in scoring position. I'll give that to you. But if you want to say Kyle Schwarber's a hole, he's not a hole. He'll mash. Trey Turner has been fantastic. Bryce Harper has been fantastic. Alec Boehm's not a hole. Bryson Stott's not a hole. Brandon Marsh is not a hole. Nick Castellanos, for as much as he frustrates a lot of people, he's not a hole. And then it's really just who you put in the catcher spot and who is, the center fielder at the time. Because if Kyle Schwarber's DHing, that most likely means Marsh is out in left field and it's either Pache or Rojas. So you pick your poison there. But JT Realmuto is a hole. And that is perfectly explanational there. Yes, JT Realmuto is a hole. He is. Now that I say that, he'll go off this, entire road trip because for some reason JT Realmuto likes to hit on the road. Seriously, if he hits a home run in his first game in St. Louis, I would not be shocked. I will not be shocked. At all. At all. At all. At all. Hey, David, I haven't heard from you in a little bit. Let me go into this group chat here, or not group chat, the live feed. See what you guys have to say. Hey, Scott, yep, that was about the most lifeless, ugly, and non-competitive game I've seen this year. Yeah, could say that. Tip my hat to Sanchez, gave us 7+ innings. He definitely did. Yep, Sean. Yep. Yeah. Phillies lose, Cubs lose like last year. Phillies lose, Brewers lose. Vikings do not stand a chance. I'm not worried. Okay. I like the confidence there, Corey. Counting down to the Dolphins-Eagles game. Are you a Dolphins fan, Scott? Are you a Dolphins fan? We should dominate Michaelis bare minimum. He's one hell of a welder. Who's one hell of a welder, William? Who is one? Who's one hell of a welder? Oh, you are a Dolphins fan. Okay. I had a feeling what you specifically pointed out, Dolphins, Eagles. It should be a good matchup. I need the Eagles offense to play better, and I expect them to play better. Dallas Goedert is not going to go catchless the entire year. That's just false. I think the MLB wants this Braves baseball good for the product. The Braves, they've been a good franchise basically their entire existence, so I'm not shocked. As long as they choke in the playoffs, I'm fine with that, Kev. As long as they choke in the playoffs to my Phillies, I am perfectly fine with that. God. Oh, God. All fun and games. All fun and games here with the opposing fans in this live feed. All fun and games. Big fan of yours and your passion for the Phillies, and I'm a Braves fan. Biggest thing I see with the Phillies is that their offense is too one-dimensional. All power, cannot string hits together. I appreciate that, Summit. I appreciate that. If you watch this team in August, they were completely crazy with the offense. They were hitting with runners in scoring position. They were hitting home runs all over the place. The home runs are still there. And that's basically what they were last year. They were a big, heavy favorite in the home run. And they went through their stretches of hitting with runners in scoring position and not hitting with runners in scoring position. The Phillies offense is basically the same. The Phillies offense is basically the same as they were last year. Basically the same. One hell of a boss. No, John, you did not choke in 2021. Sadly. That's weird because the Braves really didn't have many expectations in 2021. And they found a way to win. But it's weird. When they have expectations, they choke. But when they don't have expectations, they win. It's just one of those weird things that I've seen with the Braves. That is one of those things that I see with the Braves. They're a fantastic team now. They are just built insanely. Like seriously, it's criminal what they're doing with all the cheap contracts that they're signing to these superstars that they have with Acuna, Albies, and all that stuff. Finding a way to fleece the Oakland A's for Matt Olson and Sean Murphy and all that crap. It's just ridiculous. I don't agree with them having Marcell Ozuna on the roster. I hate that dude. I don't think he should be playing Major League Baseball because he is a literal asshole with, the domestic abuse and the DUIs and all that stuff. I don't think he should be playing Major League Baseball. Oh, yeah, the Phillies can beat the Braves. Phillies can definitely beat the Braves. They showed this series that they are not afraid of them. Sadly, the case is they weren't able to get the job done. That was the issue. That was the issue. Are the Braves the best team in 2 to 3 decades? You could say that. You could say that. You definitely could. You definitely could. Just don't like them celebrating on my field. That just, boils my blood a little bit. Just does. Ay, 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 ay. Ay, ay, ay. Oh, boy. Oh, boy. Yeah, I know the Braves have only, 2 World Series, in, this long, window of success that they've had. From their long stretch of, winning the NL East division in, the 90s and the early 2000s and all that stuff. And what they've been doing recently, they've only have 2 World Series to show for it. But, I would take that sustained success any day of the fucking week. What the Braves were doing there. I would take that sustained success any day of the week. Winning all those divisions, being a guaranteed playoff team, being a World Series contender. I would take that any day of the week. I would. I really would. Yeah, I did see what Topper said on the WIP. I don't take too much into that stuff. I don't. It doesn't bother me. Oh yeah, John, I respect the hell. I hate the Braves, but I respect the hell out of them. I do. Although I do think a lot of the seriously, the contract shit is criminal in my honest opinion. How you get Acuna that long for so cheap? Jesus, Jesus. One of those things. I just wish the Phillies could get that lucky with talent in the development system. But Dave Dombrowski is definitely building the prospect pool up a lot better, so I trust him with that. I do trust him with that. Hopefully, in the later years, we could definitely be spurting out talent, like the Dodgers do on a consistent basis, the Braves and all that stuff. I hope we could do that eventually. Hopefully. 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 Ah, Jesus. Jesus, Jesus, Jesus. Damn Phillies team, boys. Damn Phillies. Oh, boy. But yeah, it's basically not much else to talk about with the game and the series. Time to move on. It is time to move on. It is the name of the game. Standings wise, I'm assuming the Diamondbacks did officially lose. So let me see what the standings officially look like after that. Yeah, the Diamondbacks did officially lose. Yes, they did. 7-1. So you're 3.5. So the Reds move into that final wildcard spot. They're tied with the Diamondbacks for that. The Reds have won 3 games in a row, but they'll probably eventually start losing again. Geez, the Reds are under 500 at home. That is crazy. That is really crazy. What is the Reds' schedule like the rest of the year? Okay, they're playing the Tigers right now, so that's understandable why they're winning. They play the Mets after this. They play the Twins. They play Pittsburgh, Cleveland. So they definitely have an easier schedule closing out the end of the year. But they still don't have pitching. So they still don't have pitching. But so yeah, game and a half ahead of the Cubs, basically in the same exact spot that you were coming into this series. Cubs lose their series against the Rockies. Diamondbacks lose their series against the Mets. Diamondbacks and the Cubs are going to be playing each other this weekend. You're playing the Cardinals. You need to win that series just to get some separation. You got to bounce back. That's basically it. That's basically it. You got to bounce back. It's going to be Aaron Nola this weekend to start the series against the Cardinals. I know he had 7 innings against the Cardinals his last time out. when he pitched against them. But Aaron Nola, his last couple of starts has been terrible. So I don't know which Aaron Nola I'm getting. I don't know which Aaron Nola I am getting. The Braves will win the East for the next 5 to 6 years. I wouldn't be shocked if that's the case, Lex Luthor. I wouldn't be shocked if that's the case. I would not be shocked. Would not be shocked. Well, I think that's where I am going to end it for today, everybody. Not much else to talk about. I do got some editing to do eventually for Mr. Brodes, so definitely go check out his Phillies recap. Most likely he is uploading it by now, or at least just done recording it. So when this is done, I go edit that for the TikToks and all that stuff. So definitely go watch all of that stuff. But as for now, thank you for joining tonight, everybody. I appreciate you all, as always, for joining the streams. So thank you for that. Do not forget to leave a comment in the comment section down below. Do not forget to drop a like on the video. Do not forget to check out everything in the description. Do not forget to hit that subscribe button. I see there are a ton of people in the stream currently, like over 40 of you. Jesus Christ, I appreciate that. Holy shit. 40 of you, if any of you are new to the channel, hit that subscribe button. It does me a great deal of service, and if you're a current subscriber, recommend it to people. I would appreciate you for it. I love every single one of you, even the other opposing teams fans that subscribe to me. I love every single one of my subscribers. So, thank you for that. Use the code TTPSPORTS, $20 off your first purchase at SeatGeek. Great deal, don't pass it up. Julian, better late than never. I see you just popped up in the chat, but for now,